These machines can hit speeds of around 150 miles an hour at Silverstone. And this afternoon, the machines were figuring in the final round of the European Championship, one of the big races of the weekend at Silverstone, where we join Tony Gubber.
This the final round then of the 1987 European Championship for Formula E, and so far it's been a one-horse race for Sweden's Lennart Bohlin, winner of the first two races in Germany and Holland, and with a maximum of 30 points, assured of the title here today if he finishes in the top 10. Indeed, only one man can displace him, and that's Georgier Kleppe of Norway, who needs to win this final race, with Bohlin finishing out of that top 10 if there's to be a surprise. But that's not likely, because looking at the lineup for the grid positions, Bohlin in car number 97 starts on the front row of the grid alongside the man in pole position, Britain's Martin Hines, the defending European champion, who knows that he's certain to lose that title here this afternoon. And Kleppe, 89, is on the second row of the grid. Also on the front row is young Ian Shaw, the much improved driver from Salford in Manchester. 60 karts, 250cc machines, 10 laps of this track at Silverstone. A distance of just under 30 miles. It's a rolling start. Waiting for clearance. And now, that's the go-ahead. 89 goes straight through into the lead. So Kleppe's gone to the position that he needs at the front, but that'll change. Accelerating from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. There's Kleppe, 89. In second place as they take the first bend around Cox and down towards Maggots, accelerating to 135 miles an hour. Through Beckett's, down to third gear. 6 gears on these karts. And then they'll slip around Chapel. Gentle left-hander, and now the fastest part of this Silverstone circuit. Top speeds at the end of this straight approaching 145 miles an hour, and it's Ian Shaw and Martin Hines, first and second, the two zip karts. Ahead of 97, that's Lennart Bohlin, who, remember, just needs to finish in the top 10 to take the European title. And Martin Hines has gone through to lead, this 39-year-old Londoner who took the European Championship last year and who led in the first 2 races this year, but each time, having set the fastest laps, had to pull out with a seized engine, and so no points so far for Martin Hines. And now into this new woodcut bend, left-handed, and then back onto the old part of the court to complete the first lap, the first of 10. And it's Hines from Shaw and 84 Safati of France, who's gone through into third place. That's Safati, 84, and just tucked in behind him is Lennart Bohlin. These 250cc machines generate about 80 brake horsepower. 6 gears, the gear lever attached to the steering wheel, so the driver doesn't actually have to let go of the wheel to change gear. Well, Nigel Mansell raced round here in the British Grand Prix about a month ago. He set a new record speed of 153.05 miles an hour. And these Formula E karts will be lapping at about 115, 116. Points at stake for the first 12 places, but really it's a formality if Bohlin, the 44-year-old Swede, finishes in the top 10. And this is an emphatic show of force here by Hines and Shaw. Slipping through the new left-hander, still Hines from Shaw. Just look at the gap they've established over the rest of the field. 2 laps completed. Hines and Shaw, Safati, and look like Wade Nelson, the world champion who'd moved up into third place. He's in kart number 1. There he is, number 1, the South African Wade Nelson, who just got cut up badly as they turned into copse. 97 is Bohlin. He's the man who has to finish in the top 10, remember, to become the European champion. Title that he's held before Bohlin back in 1980. Sounds like a nest of angry wasps that's been disturbed as these little machines thunder around Silverstone. Just under 3 miles in length, this circuit, and the little kart's really dwarfed by the width of the circuit here. And still Hines and Shaw, rivals and teammates, and there's confirmation of the position after the first 2 laps. Safati of France 3rd, and Wade Nelson had just moved up into 4th place. Bohlin is currently 5th. Silverstone circuit. This is his first full season of Formula E racing in Shaw, and in 14 races he's only once finished out of the top 6. Shaw through into the lead. He's had 3 wins this season, young Shaw, currently with 5 points in the European Championship, and the driver has quite poor visibility. There's very little awareness of bends that you're approaching. I suppose it's a little bit like the driving simulators that you might find in the seafront amusement arcades. You only see the road just ahead of you. Well, the gap that Shaw and Hines have established is growing with every lap. Through club, preparation for that sharp left-hander. Under the Daily Express Bridge. And back in front of the grandstand. Lift the European Championship, but it would certainly be a feather in the cap of Ian Shaw if he could finish ahead of Martin Hines. And Wade Nelson, number 1, the South African world champion. And if you happen to spot number 94, let me tell you, that'll be the only lady in the race. Monica Strath, who comes from Sweden in car 94, if you spot that. 2-cylinder, 2-stroke, water-cooled, rotary valve engines. Tremendous road holding that these machines are capable of, and it's quite disconcerting when you've seen the Grand Prix cars go around here to suddenly find these little machines coming around a bend, sometimes 3 and 4 and 5 abreast. And just look at the gap that they've now established over the rest of the field. This really is an emphatic performance for the Zip team. Well, 60 karts started the race, and they really are strung out now right along the circuit. There's a good possibility before this race is run that Hines and Shaw, and they've now got a lead over the rest of the field, which is virtually the length of the straight. They're turning into copse as the others are coming around Woodcote. Wade Nelson will be challenging here, number 1, tomorrow in the first round of the 1987 World Championship, tucked in behind Safati of France. A full day's karting to enjoy at Silverstone tomorrow, the British Grand Prix for all classes of cars, and of course the first round of the 1987 World Championship for the Formula E vehicle. Now they've killed the challenge. Hines, the old dog, will not want to be beaten by young Ian. And he's tucked right in behind him. It's cat and mouse now for these two. This is fascinating. And Shaw just looked back over his shoulder, and there's nothing to see behind them. The rest of them have gone. 7 laps completed, and they're already approaching the first of the back markers, and Shaw has gone through to take Hines. Well, I wonder if Hines has let him go. And just looking back through the back markers, we've got to look for Lennart Bohlin, remember, who needs to finish in the top 10. 97's the number on Bohlin's car. And there he is, just moving up into about 4th place. 97, that's Bohlin, the Swede, who's been driving for a quarter of a century and indeed once drove Formula 3 cars back in 1976. Oh, and he's coming off onto the green, onto the bank. Well, you don't get spills too often in this sport, but they do happen now and again. And Bohlin, in his anxiety to make ground and carve off the people in front, almost ran out of road. Well, this will have brought the heart into the mouth of Lennart Bohlin, and there might have been a little bit of a touch there between two karts, which threw him off balance. These are the two leaders, and there'll be 2 laps to go when they complete this one. And what a fascinating 3 miles it's going to be. Shaw's come through to lead. Hines will tuck in behind him. Oh, and he's taken him on the inside. Well, it's wheel to wheel. Down. Hines, world champion from 4 years ago. Current European champion, a title that he's about to relinquish. 6 times the British champion. Quite a lead that Shaw has established. Through club for the last time, Shaw leads. Now Hines has got to close that gap and get right behind him and slipstream and then try and take Shaw on the last few yards. But he might not be able to do it. Now it depends on the braking going into this final bend, and there's a slower kart in the way which has slowed Shaw down, and that's not helped his chances. But here they come now through Woodcote, the final dash for the line. A slower car's in the way, and Shaw will take it. Shaw's the winner. Hines has to settle for 2nd place. Terrific victory for Ian Shaw. And difficult to sort out the back markers now from the other karts coming through for 3rd and 4th. But there he is, 97. That's Lennart Bohlin, who's just crossed the line to win the European Championship as Shaw and Hines shake hands. Friendly rivalry and a great race. What a pity for Martin Hines, though, that he had those 2 engine failures in the first 2 European Championship races, which effectively ended his chances. But that was an emphatic performance from these two. 1st and 2nd, Shaw the winner, Hines is 2nd, and Lennart Bohlin of Sweden is the 1987 European champion.
And there's confirmation of that. Lennart Bohlin, the European champion. A good 2nd place in the championship, though, for Ian Shaw of Great Britain, and Martin Hines, who relinquishes his title.
Reality, very much the baby racing cars in which many of today's Grand Prix drivers first trained. With a top speed of about 150 miles an hour and capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. And once the shell is removed, it reveals a vehicle that seems almost too tight for the 6-foot 1-inch frame of former world champion Martin Hines. The power comes from a 2-cylinder, 2-stroke, water-cooled, rotary valve engine that's right alongside the driver's seat. The tyres are air-filled and use compounds similar to Formula 1. The braking is by disc. The gear lever is attached to the steering wheel, so the driver doesn't need to let go to change up or down. The pedal configuration is the same as in any car, and there's just enough fuel to get around 10 laps of Silverstone. Everything is very compact and very neat.
Well, as you can imagine, you're only sort of half an inch off the ground when you're doing speeds of up to 150 miles an hour, and in fact you're getting from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. So it's pretty exciting, to say the least. Really, you know, you get an extremely worm's eye view of the thing. It's like being a 150 mile an hour worm almost.
How grueling is it? Because there's no suspension at all, is it? Yeah,
there's no suspension on the karts whatsoever. So all the vibration is taken through the driver. And of course, it's a very physical thing to drive. The vibrations sort of really do shake you about. You know when you've done 10 laps, I can assure you.
Sure. But it's a very safe sport, isn't it? Because we don't very often see any spills, and there don't seem to be any tragedies.
Yeah, touch wood as always. It does seem to be very safe. Its safety record over the years has been extremely good. Whether it's because we're not actually belted in, and whether it's because we are actually thrown clear an impact, I don't know, but it does seem very safe, yes. Most,
in fact, half of the Grand Prix drivers that are driving at the moment, driving in Hungary today, started in this sort of kart.
Yeah, indeed. It's probably more than half, but they all started in karting. It's a great breeding ground for champions.
Sure. Now, what about racing around here at Silverstone? Because it's a very big circuit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a big circuit. It's very wide, it's very long, it's very flat. Being so low, it is difficult to see corners at times, but the benefits it gives you with karts is because you can get 5 or 6 of you going around a corner at once, which makes for a really exciting race.
Is that a benefit, really?
Well, it's a benefit if you're trying to get through from the back. Sometimes it isn't a benefit if you've got 4 or 5 behind you. But it does give the spectators super racing.
Sure. And what are we going to look forward to in this first round of the World Championship?
Well, hopefully a nice home win for us would be nice. Ian, I think, is going to give me a lot of trouble, and Lennart Bohlin from Sweden especially. Wade Nelson, the South African current world champion. If it's dry, I think we might just have the legs on him.
And we'll be seeing Martin Hines in action in that race a little bit later.